Hey, what is up, everybody? My name is Tyler Adolfo. I am excited for this video. We are going to be doing a reaction to George Carlin's I Just Don't Care. And this is an interview. Let's see who this is with, if it says, actually. It doesn't say. So I apologize in advance for not knowing who the individual that he's interviewing with here. Someone in the comments could point him out if you know him. Maybe when I see his face. I'm just looking at his back right now, but this is the second reaction I'm doing as part of a series to George Carlin interviews. Everyone does George Carlin reaction videos to his performances, mainly the big theme ones, right? About the big club, politicians, religion, and then there's a much smaller group of people who react to his audio-only performances that were unfortunately not filmed. I've reacted to a whole bunch of those, and they were well worth the listen. So if you want to watch my reactions to those, I actually have a George Carlin playlist that is over 60 videos long and growing. If there's a George Carlin performance you want me to react to, please put it down below. But for now, I'm going to be reacting to George Carlin interviews. And from what I found from the first interview I watched of him, I just finished making a video reacting to his performance on Conan. I don't know if you want to call it performance, but he gives out just as much wisdom and in an interview setting that he does on a stage. And so that's really why I wanted to do this, was to find out to what extent, if at all, he differs in his interview settings that he does on stage. And so far, in the small sample size of one interview, I would say it's not that much of a difference. But we'll continue to watch and find out if that remains to be the case. I find him to be just as wise in the interviews, is just as brilliant as a man. This is George Carlin, I Just Don't Care, and I do not know who he's interviewing with here. And I do care, so if someone knows, please tell me down below. Let's get right into the video.
In the last 7 to 8 years, I began to develop a different comic voice and a different perspective. Comedy, stand-up comedy is a low art. It's a vulgar art. It's an art of the people. It's not.
But it's an art.
But it is an art. It has to do with interpreting the world as you see it, and then writing something, and then delivering it verbally.
So I've heard the name. I just couldn't put a face to it. But I've heard the name Charlie Rose. I knew that he was like a big-time interviewer. That's all I know about him. That he worked in some fashion in the news industry, but that's all I can say.
And I found a very liberating position for myself as an artist. And that was, I sort of gave up on the human race and gave up on the American dream and culture and nation, and decided that I didn't care about the outcome. And that gave me a lot of freedom from a kind of distant platform to be sort of amused, to watch the whole thing with a combination of wonder and pity, and try to put that into words.
Not caring about the outcome. What do you mean by that?
Not having an emotional stake in whether this experiment with human beings works. I really don't care. I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole universe in their eyes if you look carefully. But as soon as they begin to group, as soon as they begin to clot, when there are 5 of them or 10, or even groups as small as 2, they begin to change. They sacrifice the beauty of the individual for the sake of the group. I decided it was all under the control of groups now, whether it's business, religion, political people, or what, and I would distance myself from wishing for a good outcome. Let it do what it's going to do, and I'll enjoy it as an entertainment.
And I'll reflect on what it is on its own.
And I'll enjoy it for the entertainment. There's a little bit of a sick part in this, too. Yeah. I root for the big comet. I root for the big asteroid to come and make things right. That's the way I put it.
Stir things up.
Yes, to get us back where we were before the first.
So far, this is actually exactly what he was saying in his interview with Conan, if you haven't watched that. I'm not really spoiling anything because he's saying the exact same thing here. He talks about how he doesn't enjoy people as much in groups beyond one, that he enjoys people on a one-on-one basis, and he also mentioned the meteor, so that's very interesting. You can start to make the connection that this is not just a routine, that this is part of his larger philosophy and outlook on life, and it's a very intriguing one, I gotta say.
one came and knocked out these dinosaurs and let the ferrets grow
We're talking about comets on this show tonight.
I know. And I'm rooting for that big one to come right through that hole in the ozone layer because I want to see it on CNN. See, I'm here for the entertainment, Charlie. I am. Philosophers say, why are we here? I know I am here.
For the entertainment.
The show. Bring it on. I want to see the circus.
But how does this affect your performance and what you bring to stand-up?
Well, I've seen a lot of comedians, we've all seen a lot of comedians who seem to have a political bent in their work. And always implicit in the work is some positive outcome, that this is all going to work. If only we do this, if only we pass that bill, if only we elect him, if only we do that. It's not true. It's circling the drain time for humans. I believe this.
It's misleading. When celebrities do that, when comedians do that, when anybody does that, it's just a giant bread and circus of distraction, and only the foolish fall for it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of foolish people, especially when they gather in large groups. Their actions can have major consequences.
I honestly believe this. Not just as a comedian, he thinks that. He likes to say that. Yeah. I believe it. And when you say to yourself, I don't care what happens, it just gives you a broader perspective for the art, for the words to emerge, to not care. That's what happened in that 92 show. That's why I could say the planet is fine, the people are... Because the planet will outlast us. It will be here, and it will be fine.
Has the subject matter changed?
Well, you're still stuck with what's going on. Yeah. But I don't like topical. I don't like political humor. I don't mention politicians. In fact, I defend them in this particular show. Everyone is on there. Everyone is always making things. I defend them and blame it on the people. This is where it belongs.
You get what you deserve?
Yes, you get what you deserve, and you deserve what you get. And I have a slogan: "The public sucks," and it works nicely, and people accept it. Not very enthusiastically, but they understand that it says "we the people" in that preamble. It doesn't say "them the thises" and "those the thatses." It says, "Hey,
we got on this boat."
And people who hate government are involved in a form of suicide, because government is self-government. And if you hate the government, you hate yourself. Yeah. It's the same with the war against nature that mankind goes through. So I just said to myself, it's not going to get better, not in my lifetime. Let me enjoy this and get a little perverse about my commentary on it. I open.
What does perverse mean, though?
Well, to look for where the people think the line is. The people have values, that these amorphous things they call values, that they bring to the seat in the theater when they sit down. Yeah. And I like to find out where their line may be and deliberately cross it, disturb them a little, make them uncomfortable, and then make them...
As a comedian should.
And then bring them with me across the line and make them glad they came. That's what I do. I'm an entertainer. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm not here to preach. I don't do political tracts. But I do entertain. I do a lot of jokes. But I want you to feel a little in danger along the way.
Intriguing. So this was George Carlin, I Just Don't Care, a clip of his interview with Charlie Rose. Thank you all so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you are new here. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I appreciate you sticking around, as always. I enjoyed it a lot, and as I've iterated in his Conan interview, I still concur completely with what he's saying. As far as I like people on a one-on-one basis, but when they get in groups, it can be tricky. In my personal circumstance, that's where my anxiety will start to creep in and really unleash some turmoil. I'm not sure too with him on the rooting for disaster part, but I'm sure that's in large part due to our different life experiences. And at this particular point in time, he was a much older and wiser man than I will ever be. So that's probably attributed to that. But yeah, that was George Carlin, I Just Don't Care. I enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today's video. You all have a most wonderful day.